When I found myself in an argument with my childhood friend, he suddenly lost his temper and slapped me hard across the face in front of everyone. That very day, I went home and deleted all of his contact information. No one could understand it. After all, Ethan and I had grown up together. I had liked him since we were children and had followed him around for 9 whole years. Why? He asked later, his voice a mixture of confusion and anger. Just because of one slap. Yes, I said, my own voice calm and steady, without a hint of hesitation. When Ethan's hand connected with my cheek, it took a moment for my brain to catch up. There was a dull, heavy sound, and I stumbled a step backward. A buzzing sensation filled my head, and my left cheek began to radiate a hot, stinging pain. I lifted my hand to my face and stared at him in disbelief. My childhood friend Ethan had just hit me in front of our entire class because of a disagreement over a new transfer student. Ethan seemed to realize what he'd done almost immediately. His expression froze, but it was quickly replaced by a look of frustration and impatience. "Can you stop making a scene, Clara? Go back to your seat." A few quiet snickers rippled through the classroom, but most of our classmates just watched silently, taking in the drama. Beside Ethan, Maya stood casually twisting one of her vibrant green curls around her finger. She let out an exaggerated sigh and said, "Ethan, what are you doing? Can't you see your little friend is about to cry?" Ethan's voice became even colder. "Clara, if you're going to cry, do it at home. This is a school, not a place for you to have a meltdown whenever you feel like it." Shame, humiliation, and a surge of anger washed over me all at once. Big, hot tears began to roll down my cheeks, and as some of the boys in the class started to laugh openly, I turned and walked out of the classroom. I had no destination in mind. I just knew I couldn't stay there and face any of them. The truth was, Ethan had never been a particularly patient person with me, but that slap was a first. It wasn't just the first time he had hit me, it was the first time in my life anyone had ever laid a hand on me that way. Ethan and I had known each other since we were 3 years old. Our parents were good friends, and we lived in the same apartment building right across the hall from each other. My feelings for him started when I was little. Back in elementary school, I was often picked on by the boys. One boy in particular was relentless. He sat behind me and would yank my hair, put chewing gum on my chair, and even place small firecrackers inside my desk. I cried and told the teacher, who gave him a light scolding before laughing it off. "He's probably just doing that because he likes you," she said. I didn't believe her, and the boy's behavior didn't stop. I went home and told my parents, who were furious and wanted to march straight to the school. That day, Ethan's father, Uncle Jack, happened to be visiting. When he heard what was going on, he called Ethan over and told him it was his job to protect me at school. From that day forward, things changed. Ethan and I were the same age, but in different classes at the time. The next day, during recess, Ethan walked into my classroom, dragged that boy outside, and beat him up. Ethan had always been tall and strong for his age, and he made that boy and his friends cry. Before he left, he shot a warning to the other boys in my class. "If anyone dares to bully Clara again, you'll have to deal with me." That was the moment I started to truly like him. From then on, I followed him everywhere. I became his shadow, sticking to him wherever he went. Ethan didn't always enjoy having me around. He had a strong sense of his own masculinity and probably felt that having a quiet girl trailing him wasn't cool. But I was persistent. I kept following him, always calling him Ethan. Over the years, he gradually softened and stopped trying to push me away. I started to notice small things, like how he would sometimes look at me for a little too long, or how his gaze would linger on mine before he'd get flustered and quickly look away, stammering as he changed the subject. One time, Uncle Jack joked, "Since you two are so inseparable, why don't we just arrange a childhood engagement?" Ethan didn't say a word, but he squeezed my hand tightly. I saw his ears turn bright red, and a warm feeling spread through my chest. I shouted happily, "Yes, I want to marry Ethan when I grow up." But everything began to shift when we entered high school. At the end of our first semester, a new student transferred into our class. Her name was Maya, and her family had moved for her parents' jobs. She had excellent grades and a very pretty, striking face. On her first day, she walked into the classroom with a head full of bright green curls and smiled cheekily at the teacher. "It's natural, miss," she explained playfully. "My hair is just light-colored, and it curls on its own." She turned to scan the room, and her eyes landed on me, lingering for a few seconds. Suddenly, she laughed out loud. "Oh my God, look at this. We've got a real-life Barbie princess. Everything is pink. Seriously, are you still trying to be cute in high school? That's kind of embarrassing." Everyone's head turned to look at me. My face flushed hot with shame. I have always loved the color pink, truly loved it. Almost everything I owned, from my backpack and water bottle to my hair clips and phone case, was some shade of pink. I had received comments about it before. Some boys in elementary school had called me fake, and some girls said I was trying too hard. But most people were kind, and many girls told me I looked adorable and that pink suited me. This was the first time anyone had mocked me so openly and cruelly in front of so many people. I was stunned and just wanted to disappear. "Haha, sorry," Maya said with a wink, pretending her words were just a joke. "I have a habit of speaking my mind. Don't take it personally, little princess." "That's enough. It's your first day. Maybe talk a little less." A cold, annoyed voice cut her off. I turned to see Ethan frowning at her, clearly displeased. Maya raised an eyebrow and stared back at him. "Oh, look, the princess's knight has arrived. What's your problem?" Ethan lost his temper. "Are you crazy?" he snapped, slamming his hand on his desk as he stood up. The teacher quickly intervened, telling him to sit down. Then she assigned Maya to the only empty seat in the classroom, which happened to be right in front of Ethan. And just like that, they became desk mates. I don't know exactly when they started getting close. It just seemed to happen suddenly. One day, Uncle Jack stopped asking Ethan to bring me strawberry milk every morning. Instead, he handed me a carton of plain milk. I stared at it, annoyed. "You know I hate plain milk," I complained. "How could you forget?" Ethan looked a bit impatient. "It's just because the strawberry milk comes in a pink carton, right? You're not a child anymore, Clara. From now on, you're drinking plain milk. It's healthier." He patted my head as if he were scolding a little kid. Maya, who was also holding a carton of plain milk, turned around and gave me a sheepish smile. "Sorry, Pinky. I like plain milk, so I asked Ethan to get that instead. Strawberry milk is way too sweet. It's honestly kind of gross." "Do all you girly girls like that stuff?" I set the milk down, refusing to look at her. "Do you just enjoy giving people nicknames?" I asked coldly. Her expression shifted to one of mock surprise. "Wow, why are you so serious? I was just joking. You're way too sensitive." "Am I sensitive, or are you just saying things you know are mean?" "All right, Clara," Ethan interrupted, rubbing his temples as if he had a headache. "Maya doesn't always think before she speaks. Don't take it to heart." Ethan was trying to calm me down, but I was furious. My eyes were red with anger. I shoved him and snapped, "If she doesn't know how to talk to people, then she shouldn't talk at all." Ethan was startled, but quickly wrapped his arms around my waist. Okay, I'm sorry. Don't be mad. I'll bring you strawberry milk again tomorrow, all right?" Maya's expression changed in an instant. She stared at me, her face darkening, and from that day on, she began to target me. When I took out a pack of pink tissues, she'd exclaim loudly, "Wow, even your tissues are pink. Are you trying to turn yourself into a doll?" During our class cleaning sessions, I wiped down a broom handle with a wet wipe, and Maya would raise her eyebrows at the boys and joke, "Here comes the princess with her fear of germs." Every 2 weeks, we had to change seats. When I was tired from moving my desk and sat down for a moment, Maya shouted across the room, "The princess can't lift her royal table. Quick, some of you knights need to help her out." The boys who were friends with her would laugh along as if it were the funniest thing they'd ever heard. At first, Ethan found it inappropriate and told her to stop a few times. But Maya would just wave it off, saying she was only joking and that I needed to learn to take a joke. "I'm just helping her fit in better with everyone," she'd say with a smile. Ethan would nod thoughtfully and mutter, "Maybe Clara does act a bit like a princess sometimes. A lot of girls are like that these days, right?" "Hey, don't lump me in with her," Maya would playfully punch his shoulder. "I'm not like that at all." Ethan would just chuckle and my heart would ache. Deep down, I always knew Ethan thought I was too delicate, too sensitive. Maybe for most boys, liking pink and having a softer personality was enough to label a girl with princess syndrome. Eventually, I couldn't take it anymore. That summer, I went to the beach with my parents and got a pretty significant tan. It wasn't the first time. Usually, after a couple of weeks indoors, my skin would return to its normal shade, so I didn't think much of it. When the new semester started, I wore a light pink blouse under my school uniform. Maya spotted it immediately and raised her voice in her usual exaggerated way. "Oh my God, Clara, your skin is so dark now, and you're still wearing that color pink? Don't you think that's hilarious? What kind of princess looks like that? You look more like a little black dog, haha." She and a few of the boys burst into laughter. Ethan smirked, the corners of his mouth twitching. That moment crushed me. Shame and helplessness flooded my chest. I felt the blood rush to my head and my fists clenched. Amid their laughter, I grabbed my water bottle and threw its contents directly into Maya's face. Maya was stunned. She frantically wiped at her dripping face, and to my surprise, she was wearing makeup. The water had smeared her foundation and mascara. "What the hell is wrong with you? Are you crazy?" she screamed. I mimicked her mocking tone. "Oh, what's this? Double eyelid tape, foundation, and lipstick. No wonder you're not a princess. You're a clown, just here to put on a show." A few of the boys stepped in, frowning and blocking me. Ethan led the group. He yanked the water bottle from my hand and glared down at me, his face stern. "Apologize to her, Clara." I stared at him, my eyes burning. "Didn't you hear what she called me? She said I look like a dog." "One thing at a time," Ethan said coldly. "You already insulted her back. Now you need to apologize for throwing water on her. Own up when you do something wrong. Be good, don't throw a tantrum." He said it as if it were the most reasonable thing in the world. "Apologize, Maya won't hold it against you." I let out a cold, sharp laugh. "You want me to apologize?" Ethan's eyes widened in disbelief, and without another word, he slapped me hard across the face. I didn't go to class for the rest of the day. I went straight home and into my room. I tore through everything, my bookshelves, my closet, my storage bins, leaving the whole place in a mess. I found a large cardboard box and began digging out every single thing Ethan had ever given me, from when we were kids until now. I dumped it all into the box until it was completely full. After double-checking to make sure I hadn't missed anything, I carried the box downstairs and threw the entire thing into the building's trash bin. When I finished, my parents still weren't home. I called my mom. "Hey, sweetie, what's wrong?" she answered. I said coldly, "Mom, when you get home, please go talk to Uncle Jack and Aunt May. Tell them that I'm cutting ties with Ethan. From now on, he is not allowed in our house. Tell him to stay as far away from me as possible." When my mom got home, she took one look at the red mark on my face and was both furious and heartbroken. I told her everything that had been happening. She listened, her expression growing darker with every word. Without hesitation, she went straight to Ethan's apartment. When Aunt May opened the door, my mom laid it all out. She told her how Ethan had slapped me, how he had stood by while Maya mocked me, and how he had ultimately defended Maya in front of everyone. Aunt May's face went pale. The two families had been close for so many years, but that night, a crack formed between us. Yet my mom didn't blame me. She looked at me gently and said, "Clara, you must never let anyone bully you. No matter what you decide, your dad and I will always support you." All the frustration and sadness I had been holding in finally broke free. My nose tingled, and I threw myself into her arms, crying. That night, Ethan must have found the box of things I'd thrown away. He came back furious and pounded on my door. "Clara, come out. We need to talk." I opened it to see his face, cold and stiff with anger. "Why did you throw away everything I gave you?" "What does it have to do with you?" I stared at him, my expression blank. The mark from the slap was still visible on my face. He hadn't held back. The outline of his fingers was still there, and instead of fading, it seemed to have gotten worse. Ethan's expression shifted as he stared at the bruise. How did it get that bad?" he murmured. He reached out to touch my cheek, but I stepped back, my face emotionless. I rarely got hurt, and when I did, I used to run to Ethan for comfort. It wasn't that I feared pain. I just liked playing the part of the girl who needed him. He, in turn, despite calling me fragile, seemed to enjoy being needed. Not anymore. He had never seen me so distant. For a moment, he seemed unable to process it. "I didn't mean it," he said. "Clara, I just got mad because of what you said. I lost control." I cut him off. "Since you're here, let's make this clear. Starting today, we're strangers. From now on, use my full name. If you see me at school, don't talk to me, and don't ever show up at my house again." As soon as I finished, I moved to close the door. Ethan grabbed my wrist, his eyes locked on mine. His face shifted from guilt to anger, then to confusion. "Seriously? Just because I slapped you, you're cutting me off like this?" he said, trying to keep his voice steady. "Fine, I'll apologize." He paused. "Don't you think you're being too extreme? What if you regret this later?" "I won't." "Why?" he asked, gritting his teeth. "Because of that one slap? You're really doing this over one slap?" "Yes," I said with unwavering certainty. "Fine! If that's what you want, then so be it," Ethan snapped, furious. He turned and slammed the door behind him. The next day, Ethan and Maya made a public announcement in class. They were officially dating. I wasn't surprised. The signs had all been there. When Maya first arrived, she quickly became popular with the boys due to her outgoing personality, but she rarely spoke to the girls. "Ugh, I only like hanging out with boys. It's just easier," she'd often say. "Girls are always so calculating and dramatic. I can't deal with it." Because of statements like that, most of the girls in our class kept their distance from her. I remember my mom's advice when I vented to her about it once. "Sweetie," she said gently, "when you run into someone like that, the best thing to do is ignore them. Don't let them affect you and don't get too close." Ethan had overheard that conversation and his face had turned cold. He disliked hearing people talk about others behind their backs. "Uncle, Auntie," he had said seriously, "I don't think it's very nice to talk about people like that." My parents and I had fallen into an awkward silence. At some point, he and Maya had developed a close friendship. She was good at English and often helped him with his homework, a role I used to fill. She also played basketball and got along well with his friends. It was only natural they grew closer. Ethan's opinion of her had clearly changed. The girl who mocked me became, in his eyes, someone cheerful and passionate, just a bit too outspoken. And Ethan, who used to stick by my side, quickly adapted to Maya's constant presence. They passed notes in class, and after school she'd ride on the back of his bike, laughing brightly. I often watched them with a sinking feeling, but I told myself they were just friends. I believed Ethan liked me. I was just being delusional. "I'm actually dating Ethan now," Maya announced cheerfully in class, sitting on his lap. Not like some people who use the childhood friend card to cling to him. Then she glanced sideways and added, "Oh, by the way, I know some girls like to run to the teacher and tattle. I hope certain classmates won't report us for dating. That would be really pathetic." Ethan said nothing. Some classmates congratulated them. Others glanced at me. Everyone knew Ethan and I had grown up together, and everyone knew I liked him. My deskmate looked at me with concern, but I just kept my head down, pretending to read my book. The atmosphere was suddenly very awkward. Ethan let out a cold snort and looked away. After that, they were inseparable. During breaks, Maya would pull off her hair tie and toss it onto Ethan's wrist. At lunch, she'd steal food from his tray, and he'd just look at her with a helpless expression. After 10 years of knowing him, it felt strange at first, but I got used to it. Just when I thought we had nothing left to do with each other, Ethan stopped me at the school gate one evening. "Clara," he said, his voice low and his expression conflicted. Maya had called in sick that day. "What did you say to her?" he asked bluntly. I paused. What could I have possibly said? I've never spoken to her on my own. You know, I'm not the chatty type, especially with her. "So tell me, what would I have said?" He didn't believe me. "I took her home last night and she was fine. Today she called in sick, and when I asked why, she just cried and said she was sorry for hurting you. So tell me the truth. What did you say to her? Did you hit her?" "You're out of your mind." I had no patience for this and tried to walk past him, but he yanked my wrist, his grip tight. "Clara, I know you're upset that we're dating, but you didn't have to go this far. It was you who said we should act like strangers. If you're jealous now, he cut himself off, then his tone softened. If you just apologize, we can pretend none of this ever happened. Things can go back to the way they were. I'd had enough. Are you insane? I snapped. Let go. Who do you think you are? I already told you. I didn't do anything. You two can date all you want. Just stay out of my life. His face turned stormy, but his grip didn't loosen. Just as I was about to struggle, a hand pressed down on Ethan's arm. Hey, a calm voice said. Is this how you treat girls now? I turned and saw a boy in our school uniform. It took me a second to recognize him. It was Leo, a senior. We had both been on the school's math competition team once, though we hadn't really talked. He had one of those faces that was hard to forget. He caught my confused look and gave me a small, playful wink before tightening his grip on Ethan's arm. I took the opportunity to pull away and walked off without looking back. On Wednesday during PE, I felt a little off, but joined the class for laps anyway. As I was running, my vision suddenly went black. My limbs felt weak and numb. I realized my low blood sugar was acting up, but it was too late. My legs gave out and I collapsed onto the track. There were gasps and footsteps rushed toward me. A strong arm wrapped around my shoulder and pulled me up. It was Ethan. You're having a low blood sugar episode, he said, already scolding me. Did you skip meals again? Why would you go running like this? Can't you take care of yourself? He kept rambling, and I was already annoyed from the fall. I struggled to free my arm. Don't touch me. I can walk by myself. Is now really the time for an attitude? He growled. I'll just walk you to the nurse's office and leave. Will that satisfy you? I let out a fed-up laugh. Is low blood sugar a terminal illness now? I just need to sit for a minute. Do I need you to escort me? He clenched his teeth. Why do you have to be so ungrateful? I stared at him calmly. If that's how you see it, then there's nothing I can do. He threw my arm off and stormed away. The nurse's office was mostly empty except for one student sitting on a bed. It was Leo. His eyes lit up when he saw me. Hey, Clara, what a coincidence. I gave him a small nod, but then I noticed he was hurt far worse than I was. His knee was wrapped in the thick gauze soaked with blood. He caught me staring and scratched his head awkwardly. Ah, yeah, the court had a loose patch. I fell during a game. It's just a scrape. Then he looked at me. What about you? I vaguely remembered hearing Leo was the captain of the school's basketball team. I'm fine, just low blood sugar, I said. You should rest. Over the next few days, because of my health issues and his knee injury, Leo and I kept running into each other in the nurse's office during the school's morning exercise period. We started talking and grew more familiar. He was an easy person to be around, outgoing and gentle. One day, he looked at me with a shy smile. Clara, I think our friendship could go a bit further. What do you think? I was startled and immediately shook my head, but he didn't give up. A week later, he started seeking me out during our long breaks, bringing me candy or my favorite milk. The girls around me would happily give up their seats for him, and soon, rumors started spreading that the senior heartthrob, Leo, was dating me, a sophomore. I denied it, but no one believed me. Hey, the girl behind me whispered one day. Is it true that Leo has an 8-pack? How would I know that? I blinked. My desk mate nudged me. I heard from someone on the team that he does. You're his girlfriend. You must have seen it. I tried to recall. I think I saw it once in the nurse's office. He said it was hot and lifted his shirt to wipe off some sweat. He's pretty slim. Oh my God, girl, you're living the dream, the girl behind me shouted before I could finish. Right then, a loud crash echoed through the classroom. We all turned. Ethan had dropped a glass cup, shattering it. His face was pale. It took him a few seconds to react before he slowly bent down to pick up the pieces. Ethan, your hand! Maya let out a sharp cry. That's when I saw the blood. His fingers were cut and red droplets stained the floor. He just stared at his hand as if he were somewhere else entirely. Maya reached for him, but he shook her off. Then, in front of everyone, he walked toward me. The cut was deep, but it was like he couldn't feel it. He stopped in front of my desk, looked down, and said quietly, I'm hurt. Can I get a Band-Aid? I looked at him in silence. I always kept band-aids on me, and he knew that. I used to carry them for him when he'd get into fights for me back in the day. After one particularly bad incident where he was pushed through a glass panel at school, his arms torn to shreds, I made it a habit. He used to tease me for it, but I could see the smile in his eyes. He liked that I cared. But then Maya had seen my Hello Kitty band-aids once and laughed. "You're grown up and still using those? That's so childish." Ethan had laughed too. I pulled myself out of the memory and looked at him. I shook my head gently. "I won't give you a band-aid," I said. "Not now, not ever again." He didn't look surprised. He let out a dry, mocking laugh. "Got it." His eyes seemed to lose their light. After school, Maya cornered me. "Let's talk," she said, her expression serious. I was honestly fed up. "I really don't understand," she said after a long silence. "What is it about you that makes him think about you all the time?" I almost laughed. "Just say what you want to say." Her face darkened. "You must be feeling pretty smug. Sure, he's dating me, but it's obvious he still likes you. Seeing you with another guy sends him into a depression. He was just worked up when he slapped you. It was a mistake, and you cut him off completely over it. You threw away a childhood friendship because your pride got hurt. You're so vain and selfish." I listened quietly until she finished. "You don't need to test me," I said calmly. "I'm not getting back with him." She froze. "It must be pretty awkward being sent by your boyfriend to check on his childhood friend. But don't worry, I meant it when I said we're strangers. That's for life. When I say I'm done, I'm done. I don't recycle garbage. Tell Ethan I said that." As I walked away, I heard her voice behind me, sharp with disbelief. "Clara, all because of one slap? Just because he hit you once?" "Yes," I said again without hesitation. "Just because of that one slap." That night, I got a call from an unknown number. "Clara, it's Ethan." "Are you serious?" I snapped, about to hang up. "Wait, just listen," he said quickly. "I read the journal." My mind went blank. He meant the journal he had given me for my 10th birthday. I had treasured it, filling it with all my feelings for him over the years. It was supposed to be my confession to him one day, after we were married. I thought I had thrown it away. "I picked it up that day," he said, his voice trembling. "Clara, I'm sorry. I read your journal. I had no idea you liked me that much. I'm so sorry for ignoring it." "When did you pick it up?" I cut him off. The line went quiet. "It's been a while, hasn't it?" I laughed coldly. "So why are you only calling me tonight? Because you just opened it today?" "It's because I've been in a relationship. You didn't feel the urgency before," I finished for him. "But now, for the first time, you feel threatened that your place in my life is being replaced. So tonight, months later, you finally read that dusty old journal." "Clara, no, it's not." I didn't let him finish. "Ethan, a late apology and a long overdue confession don't change anything. That journal doesn't mean anything anymore. You should throw it away. Don't call me again." I hung up. My birthday was a week away. My parents threw a party and told me to invite my classmates. I didn't want to invite Ethan, but to avoid drama, I handed out invitations to everyone, including Leo. On the day of the party, Ethan came with Maya clinging to his arm. His face was expressionless. I didn't greet them. Later, I stepped onto the terrace for some air. I heard his footsteps behind me. He stopped and said in a hoarse voice, "Can we talk?" I turned. His eyes were red. "Sure," I said flatly, "but I hope this is the last time." A bitter, self-deprecating smile touched his lips. "Does it really have to be like this between us, Clara? No matter how much I beg, will you never forgive me?" He finally said it. "I know you liked me. You know I like you too. We were so close. Why are you treating me like this? Is it really just because of that slap?" And just like before, I nodded. Yes, just because of that slap. But there was more to it. A few days before the incident, I had overheard something. I saw Ethan walking with Maya and their friends, and I followed them to a hot pot restaurant. "Isn't that your childhood sweetheart?" one of his friends had asked. "Still likes you, doesn't she?" "She's been chasing you for 9 years," another added. How are you not dating? Ethan had chuckled casually. Yeah, I like her, but I don't really want to date her. She's way too sensitive. It's a hassle. Aren't you worried she'll stop liking you? Ethan just smirked. Girls like her, once they fall, they stick. You can't shake them off. Then Maya's voice joined in. Totally. I know her type. Delicate, needy. No matter how cold you are, the second you're a little nice, she melts. Then came the words I would never forget. Hey, Ethan, want to try something? Slap her and see what happens. I bet a girl like that would just burst into tears. I held my breath. And in that noisy restaurant, Ethan's voice was the clearest of all. Try it then, he said with a casual laugh. Now, standing in front of me on the terrace, Ethan looked panicked as I recounted the memory. His hands were trembling. Clara, no, listen, he pleaded. I only said that to save face. I didn't mean it. But he didn't deny it. Didn't you always say talking behind someone's back was wrong? I asked quietly. Look at yourself. All the color drained from his face. I know you like me, I said, but I also know you wavered. You thought Maya was great too. You liked her enough to want to impress her. You see me as beautiful, but also fragile, a girl with princess syndrome. You think I'm childish because I like pink. That's why you were drawn to someone like Maya. But you shouldn't have stepped on me to lift yourself up. How dare you slap me? What gave you the right? His face was a mask of guilt and shame. A single tear slipped down his cheek. Clara, do you not love me anymore? I never loved you, I said without hesitation. His lips turned pale. I used to like you, I clarified. My feelings were based on a fantasy I created about you. They didn't need your response to exist. But not long ago, I gave that up. Why? He murmured, like someone in a trance. I didn't answer. After that, Ethan and Maya broke up. He started trying to do things for me again, buying me breakfast, following me home from a distance to protect me. It was like we were back in elementary school, but it was just sad. Around that time, my parents' company relocated them to my mom's coastal hometown. We decided to move before my final year of high school. I quietly messaged a few friends to say goodbye. Ethan was the last to find out. On the day we left, he chased our car for what felt like forever. I sat in the front seat watching him in the rearview mirror, running with everything he had, his face pale and streaked with tears. The wind carried away his cries as he grew smaller and smaller until he was just a blurry dot in the distance. Afterward, I'd hear things about him from old classmates. Some said he fell into a depression. Others said he changed completely and buried himself in his studies. I didn't keep track. I got into a university in a coastal city, ready for a new future. Coincidentally, Leo ended up at the same school and began pursuing me again. For the first 2 years of college, on every birthday, I'd receive an anonymous package, a handmade doll I'd once mentioned, a dress I'd wanted. I accepted them all but never opened them. They just piled up in a corner. Then, in my junior year, I finally said yes to Leo. At his insistence, I posted a photo of us together online. After that, the anonymous gifts stopped, and that was fine. It was long overdue. That part of my life was finally over.